Ring of Honor, you've done very well there. Much success there. In-ring performer, on the mic. What was that experience like for you at Ring of Honor?
Ring of Honor was, I mean, good and bad, but...
it's like anything, though.
Yeah, I mean, they were a big part of my career, and they're a big part of the reason I'm here. So I have to be grateful for the platform they gave me. But I mean, it wasn't always a great time. I butted heads with people there, and
but Kevin, that's like anywhere.
I'll say this: it was time. Like, I've always dreamed of being here. I always wanted to be WWE superstar, and the timing couldn't have been better because my contract with Ring of Honor was running up, and I got the offer to come here, and I mean, it was time for me to go. So I'm definitely glad I'm here. You know, timing worked out good for both me and Ring of Honor, I would say.
Now that you're here at NXT, you're just getting your feet wet with this whole new experience and all. Where do you want to go with this? How big do you want to get on the level of whatever you want to do? What are your goals?
I mean, everybody's goal here is to end up on Raw or SmackDown or WrestleMania, you know, and I'm no different, but one thing that's important for me is to make my time at NXT, however long it may be, count. You know, that's something I've always had throughout my entire career. When I start somewhere, I want to make my time there count, and I want to make memories there, and I want to make moments that people will remember. You know, the fans and the audience watching. I want to be able to say, like, I want them to be able to say, oh, remember when Steve did this in NXT? Even if it's, let's say, in 5 years and I'm on Raw, and I want people to remember stuff I've done in NXT. I just want to be part of meaningful moments, and you know, NXT is a great place to start for that here. So.
WWE Network, NXT on there, and then it's a springboard to Raw, SmackDown, even WrestleMania. Being that you were a wrestling fan growing up in Canada, you did play a little hockey. Canada's noted for hockey.
Very little.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So what was the hockey experience like for Kevin Steen?
I mean, it was good. My parents were big into hockey, so they signed me up for hockey. My brother was a very talented hockey player, and I mean, it wasn't for me. It's not that I wasn't good, but I didn't necessarily have the will to be in it. So, you know, when I wanted to play, I'd be decent. But it was very rare that I actually felt like lacing up the skates and putting on all the pads and the equipment. And by the time I was done doing that, I didn't want to go on the ice and play for an hour. So it was okay. But when I was 14, you know, I was already watching wrestling, and I heard about a wrestling school, the one that, you know, the infamous Barn wrestling school. By the time I heard of that, I couldn't care less about hockey. I couldn't care less about baseball or soccer or any of the other sports I was participating in. I was all about wrestling, and I dove in head first into wrestling, and I never looked back. So I don't watch sports. I don't pay attention to sports. I have, you know, all the guys in NXT are big football fans, and I sit in the locker room and I hear them talking about their fantasy drafts, and you see this team and this guy and this guy. If they ask my opinion, I'll say that I know Dan Marino was a Miami Dolphin because Ace Ventura, Pet Detective is one of my favorite movies.
And so, Dan Marino was in that movie.
That's all I got. I mean, I could say I know Cam Neely played for the Boston Bruins, and that's pretty much my sports knowledge, honestly. So.
But you started, as you said, you started with pro wrestling very young.
Yes.
Just because your passion and what you wanted to do, and you knew at that time, this is what I want to do.
I knew from the moment I saw my first match, I knew that was it.
The parents, how did family react to that? They gave you the blessing, hey, go do your thing.
I wouldn't be here without my parents. My dad and my mom were 100% behind me from the start. Even when I was 11 and I watched my first wrestling show, because my dad rented a tape of WrestleMania 11, it wasn't even my choice. He rented it, he was watching it, I walked by the living room, caught a glimpse of it, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, what is this? And then I was hooked, and I said, I want to do that. And they never tried to convince me otherwise. They never told me you can't do this. They never told me, no, you have to, you know, be a lawyer, a doctor, or whatever. They were just like, all right, well, you better go all in. And they helped. They paid for my wrestling training. They drove me everywhere they had to. They came to see me. They came to see every show they could for a very long time. And I literally can't say enough about their support and their love. Without them, I definitely wouldn't be here.
Are you able to share this with them now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my dad was the first person I called when I got word from WWE that they were offering me a contract. They actually, even getting here, they were a huge part, and I had to find a way to get my wife, my son Owen, my daughter, my dog, my 3 cats, and everything we own to Florida. And I had about 5 days to do it. So I found a house, and then I turned to my parents, I'm like, well, how do we do this? And they're like, well, we'll drive the truck, you drive the car with the kids, and we'll do it. So they drove a U-Haul with 2 cats, because we didn't have room for everything. I had my wife, my 2 kids, the dog, and 1 cat in the car. They had the U-Haul and the 2 cats. It took us 3 days, because the cats had to stop, the dog had to stop, the baby had to stop, so it was quite an adventure, but again, just they were a huge part of why I'm literally here, physically. They brought me here, and then they flew home, and yeah, we're sharing every moment. I keep them up to date, I can't wait to see them again. I haven't seen them in 2 months, which is, we were very close, so, but I don't think they could be any more proud of me than they are now until, I'll make
the next step.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be a good day, whenever I end up on NXT, my first time on NXT, I'm sure my dad's gonna be calling everybody he can, and that makes me feel good. That's a big reason of why I always wanted to make it here. Even though I had a pretty good career going outside of WWE and I was doing well financially and everything, WWE was always my dream, but also I wanted to be able to tell my parents, you see everything you put in, it led to me actually doing it. And I can't wait for them to see me in a WWE ring for the first time.
What's it like in South Florida? Central Florida, I should say.
We like it.
It's okay?
Yeah, the theme parks are right around the corner, which is a big selling point for my son. He's 6 years old, so leaving school and his friends behind, and the grandparents was a little rough, but I told him, listen, we could go to theme parks, and you want to see me to wrestle John Cena? Yeah. I'm like, well, we got to go through this. Like, okay. So everybody's doing good. We're enjoying it. Yeah.
And his name is Owen.
His name's Owen, yes.
And tell us about
Owen Hart was one of my favorite wrestlers, and I always said that if I ever had a kid, if I ever had a son, I wanted his name to be Owen. I honestly never thought I'd have children until I met my wife, and she changed everything I knew about life. And then, she got pregnant, and we found out it was a boy, and I told her, please, can we call him Owen? She was on board from the start, and she wasn't a wrestling fan before she met me, but through years of being with me, she became a wrestling fan, and she's read about Owen Hart, and she's heard about Owen Hart, and everything anybody ever says about Owen Hart is so positive that she was on board. Yeah, let's name him Owen, why not? And he's a great kid, so far he's holding up his end of the deal with the name, so we're good.
That's great, Kevin. You're a good man, Kevin.
Thank you.
Family man, and want to thank you for taking time.
Thanks for having me.